Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kathy Hester, and welcome to my kitchen. Today, we're going to make an amazing soup that's super fun for Halloween. And the Idaho Potato Commission is sponsoring this, which is why our little buddy, Spuddy Buddy, is here. If you have some questions as we go along, just let me know. Okay? And hopefully, this will all be smooth and easy. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is Halloween, right? So I am like all about Halloween all the time. If you guys haven't noticed that. Those of you who are on my Facebook pages and newsletter and all that know that I am the vegan Halloween queen. So I know this year a lot of us are not able to go out and do our normal Halloween things. Like we're not actually having our sit down 13-person went on Good Year's sit-down multi-course Halloween dinner party. But that doesn't mean that you don't get to enjoy the holiday and bring it into your home in a way that's super awesome for you. Hey, I see that Idaho Potatoes is here, Susan Crow, Ashley. It's so good to see all of you guys here. So what we're talking about today, again, is making a spooky potato soup. Because to me, potato soup is just the pinnacle of winter comfort food or cold weather comfort food. So it doesn't matter if you choose to do all the Halloween additions to this or not. This is still a recipe that you want to keep all year long. Hey Marilyn, it's good to see you too. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take about 4 cups of cut up Idaho potatoes. And I pulled out let me turn this down, it's a lot. I'm hearing loud pops. This is how you can tell you're getting Idaho potatoes, because it says so. So that's something else to keep in mind. And remember too that all Idaho potatoes aren't russet potatoes. So let me let you see overhead. A better view of Mr. Spuddy. Let me see if I can make this look straight. So it's about 4 cups of potatoes, 3 cups of water, which is pretty easy peasy. And, okay. What we're doing too is we're going to add a little bit of my famous homemade vegetable bouillon. And you can get this recipe on plantbasedinstantpot.com or healthyslowcooking.com. And it really is just vegetables and nutritional yeast cooked down. So it's super inexpensive. You can freeze it. You can make a batch and freeze it. You can make it in your slow cooker. You can make it on your stove, in your oven, on your slow cooker. You could probably make it in your air fryer if you really wanted to. And now I'm adding some garlic. And so I'm just going to go ahead and turn this on. And our main goal is to cook the potatoes until they're soft, right? Until you can pierce them with a fork, which I'm sure is a phrase you've heard many a time. And I've got lots and lots of comments, so let me see what we've got here. Cindy says hi. Let me see. I think I know what's going on. And people are getting error messages. So I am actually realized I had my Wi-Fi on, so I'm switching my Wi-Fi off. So that should help with those messages that we're getting. And let's see. Helene says, who doesn't love potatoes? I feel you. Potatoes are the basis almost of the whole food plant-based diet. There's lots of really good, yummy, wholesome goodness in there. I know there are a segment of people who do like paleo and keto and they're a little carb phobic, but whole food plant-based people who we are and vegans want to eat all the potatoes, and they're good for you. They're really nutritious. Okay, and Famous Idaho Potato says, greetings from Idaho. We wish we were there. It's been I don't know how the weather is in Idaho. I'd love to know. Okay, and hi Joe, Nancy. I'm not sure if it's Joe or Nancy or if it's both of you in Vancouver, Washington. It's good to see you guys. So what we're doing, just to catch everybody up, what's in the pot right now are 4 cups of peeled and cut Idaho potatoes with 3 teaspoons of minced garlic, 2 tablespoons of my bouillon that you can get on Plant-Based Instant Pot or healthyslowcooking.com, the recipe, not to buy, and about 3 cups of water. We can always add more water. I see somebody else is still having problems with it loading, but I see other people are seeing it. Marilyn said she went out and came back in, so Diane, you might want to try that. Go out and come back in and see if that helps. Oh, and yay, yes. So Potatoes is talking about my t-shirt. This is my zombie candy corn t-shirt, so I had to like sneak that in. And also, in just a minute, we'll talk about a prize that you could win, that you want. So I want to make sure everybody's getting their video loading pretty well right now. It seems like most people are in, so if you can tell me that your video is working, that would help me a lot at this point. And Joanne keeps losing the feed too. Let me go to this other computer, which should not be pulling anything down, and seeing if it is. And I don't know if Cheryl is downstairs on something, so I'll turn that Wi-Fi off. And Linda's getting it too. Heather says hers is working. Okay, so if you guys are having trouble with your feed, maybe go ahead and disconnect and reconnect. Because at this point, I don't think this is my feed that's having the problem. Hi, Nadine. It is awesome. And Famous Idaho Potatoes keeps losing the feed. Yeah, because I am hardwired in at this point. So let's just give it a minute. And I think Cheryl is downstairs, and you're still having trouble. I know that all around the United States and Canada, we are having some trouble with the internet because so many people are doing school from home and work from home. Okay, Nadine says hers is going pretty well now. Carol is having some problems going with the feed. And Diane's in, but lost it again. It could be a Facebook issue, and that is true. So what I can promise you, hopefully things will kind of smooth out. We'll start again with what's going on, and I will post the whole version without it going in and out as well on all the places that you might be watching it. So it could, I'm just wondering if it's Facebook. Okay. Well, this is disconcerting because I've been live all weekend long and I didn't have any issues from my part. So again, if you're having some trouble with it, go ahead and go out and come back in. I'll be here waiting. The potatoes need to cook some anyhow. So we'll get that going. And okay. All right. It seems like things are settling down. Okay, yay. Okay, so I see there are a lot more of you than there were a few minutes ago. So let's start from the very beginning. In case you don't know, I'm Kathy Hester. Welcome to my kitchen, and we are making a wonderful, delicious Halloween potato soup made with Idaho potatoes. Who's sponsoring this? And we'll talk a little bit more about what we're doing. So in the pot right now, there we go. In the pot right now, we have 3 cups of water. We have 2 bouillon cubes, 3 tablespoons of garlic, and we have 4 cups of Idaho potatoes. And so the potatoes are looking like this. So they're not giant chunks. You can make them as big or as small as you want. Actually, that's cut. It's just not breaking apart. But you want them to be fairly consistent in their size so that they cook evenly. So that's one thing that we're going to want to look at. Now, here's another cool thing that you may not know about. And this is my favorite thing when I'm cooking potatoes or pasta. And it's such a cool little guy. It's just this little silicone thing, and it keeps things from boiling over. So I use that whenever I'm not just staring at it like I am right now. And I'm getting the other tool we're going to need in a little bit. Dun, 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 the potato masher. So while we're talking about a few like cool things that we can do, so these are pretty inexpensive. And if you're like me, because I do so much work in the Instant Pot and the slow cooker, sometimes when I'm cooking stovetop, I don't always pay attention the way I'd like to. So sometimes things boil over, especially pasta. So this keeps that from happening. Now, if you pick it up while it's boiling, stuff's going to go right over the edge. So you have to be committed to keeping this in till the end, taking it off the heat, removing it, and then draining whatever you're cooking. So, but this is a really good thing. And Kate says, her Facebook is saying, we're having trouble playing this video. Well, and Linda says, Linda Fowler, if it makes you feel better, I live in the country with high-speed dial-up, and you're coming in fine. Okay, well that's nice to know. That does make me feel better. Okay, great. And that's what Joanne is getting to. And Kate loves my pans. These are just some pans I got at Target. They actually stack though, so they stack within each other, which is really kind of nice. And Cheryl, my wife and tech person, is checking everything out, and she said that the uploads are going fine, and no interruptions are showing on our side. That doesn't make it any less frustrating for you, so don't think that I'm saying that. So again, don't worry. If it's breaking up, you will have access to the replay, though. I love that you're here now, because if you're here now, you're going to have a chance to win something, which I want to talk a little bit about as we kind of go through some of this. Okay, everyone seems better. Okay, awesome. So what I'd love to know from you guys, what's your favorite potato dish? Like, because we're whole food plant-based people, we eat all the potatoes. And I'm going to take this away now, because in theory, since I'm standing here in front of this talking to you, I shouldn't let it boil over. That's in theory. So we're watching right now the longest part of this whole cooking process, which is just the same way you could cook to make mashed potatoes or leftover mashed potato cakes. I'm trying to think of some other really, who doesn't love mashed potatoes? And adding a little bit of that bouillon, and my bouillon is just onion, and you take the skins off, because we're not making a broth, we're making a bouillon, which means we're going to consume and eat everything that's in there. So it's like an onion, some carrots chopped up, some celery, and some thyme. And if you're using a slow cooker, you don't even have to add any water. You just put all that in, let it cook, puree it with some nutritional yeast. And that's the recipe I said is on Plant-Based Instant Pot for the Instant Pot version, which is a little different, and healthy slow cooking. You can just go up into the search bar and search for bouillon, and you'll find the recipes either place. Let's see, I got potato soup. Yes, whenever I just have had a bad day, potato soup is just so comforting and soothing, and it's just awesome. And this guy is boiling, and the color from the bouillon is it's the carrots that's making it kind of that color. And I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. But I wanted you guys to get a peek. Ooh, mashed potatoes, Linda Whitty says. And I'm like, yum. Okay, let's see what we got here. We got some scallop potatoes. And I have a great scallop potato recipe on healthyslowcooking.com that uses cauliflower for the sauce. So that's a really great dish to make on Thanksgiving. Actually, potatoes are good all the time, but I think it's important to have mashed potatoes or scalloped potatoes or something really yummy with potatoes during every holiday meal too, because we don't want to leave them out. It would make Spuddy sad, and it would make me sad. Yukon Gold with vegan cheese sauce and salsa. Yum. That sounds great. And I actually even have a potato cheese sauce on that's like a queso on Healthy Slow Cooking. If you look up, I have a vegan Torchy's kind of copycat, and they do a really neat queso that's not vegan, so I veganized it, and they drop guacamole in on top of it because, I don't know, next to potato soup, you know, a little queso, some chips, and a margarita is also kind of a comfort food of a different kind. but you can still have potatoes in there too. And potatoes are so inexpensive, and that's another wonderful bonus of them. Kate says roasted fingerling potatoes are Duchess potatoes. You are fancy. Breakfast hash browns, says Diane. Chernow and Diane Town says mashed potatoes with mushroom gravy. Oh, that just like pulls at my heartstrings because there's nothing like a great gravy. And those of you who may choose to eat oil-free, you can make a really great gravy with no oil at all. Just toast some oat flour really low. And we did this for a class earlier this week when we made gumbo. And just make sure that you kind of keep it on low heat, toast for a while, and then it's going to make your gravy just sing. You won't miss the oil at all. And let's see, oh, and Spuddy does look cute. He's made friends with these are the flowers that don't have the mouths, so he can hang out here. Some of the other carnivorous plants wouldn't be so good for Spuddy, so we made sure he got where he needed to be and is celebrating Halloween appropriately. And Nadine says, yum. Roasted potatoes and onions. Yeah, roasted potatoes are so awesome. And air-fried potatoes are one of my favorites. So if I have an organic potato, I don't peel them at all. So it takes no time. I wash it, cut it up, and then I toss it in some Cajun seasoning. And you can either roast it in the oven, or you can put it in your air fryer. And so it'll cook a lot faster in your air fryer and get a little bit crispier, which is kind of cool. So I really enjoyed those a lot as well. And Susan Crow says, all the potatoes, but she loves potato soup. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, so while we're waiting for little taters to cook, because this is the time-consuming part, we're going to also make a blender elixir to kind of pour in with this, because I don't want to puree the potatoes themselves in the blender because they're going to get gummy. So we're going to actually puree all the things that need to be pureed with some of the cooking liquid, and then we're going to use our powerful potato masher. And this is one of my favorite potato mashers, and it's much heavier than it looks like. It's metal. And I like this better than some of the ones that just kind of go like that, because you just get a much nicer and quicker smash out of things, and that's really pleasant. Marilyn says she likes mashed potato casserole with onions, garlic, cream cheese, and sour cream. Ooh, and she said she keeps trying, but she hasn't found a vegan substitute for cream cheese yet. I wonder if you would actually make some vegan soy yogurt, because I know you make soy yogurt, and actually strain it until it almost gets not quite as thick as cream cheese, but fairly thick, and use that, because that would give you the sourness. And maybe add a little bit of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar to get a little bit of that cream cheese tang. I think that would be a good substitute. I also have another recipe where I actually make, and I think, pretty sure I posted my soy yogurt recipe on Plant-Based Instant Pot. You could also do an avocado cashew mixture, like in soaked cashews with avocado, again, lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, and that could also be it. I'm not sure if that would be so good in the potato casserole though, but I think like a real strained, thickened yogurt would be awesome. And Potato says they like the way I think. That's because I think potatoes. And that's why the whole food plant-based community loves Idaho potatoes, and they love us back. And it never hurts to be loved back, does it? And Carol says she's interested in the cream cheese substitute. Maybe I'll do a little something with that. I need to make some yogurt anyhow, so maybe I'll make a double batch and strain some of it, and we can talk about that in another live. But because you could use that too in your mashed potatoes, right? Instead of using non-dairy milk, especially if you're not using any kind of vegan butter, that's going to add a little more texture and thickness to it, which is good. I mean, though, honestly, you can give me some mashed potatoes with some salt and pepper, a little roasted garlic maybe, and I can just eat them just like that because they're awesome. Okay, there were a couple things I did want to show you why this is. I'm going to move this up here. And I wanted to show you again, because I do this every time I do a potato live, because every time I do it, somebody doesn't know. So this one is not as many eyes, but you guys see the eyes on here? And you know that you're not supposed to eat those. And sometimes, and let me see if I have, do I have a big one? I'm looking in my potato drawer. Now, I think I got rid of most. Oh, nope, here's one. There's always some potato that has big eyes. So this one I know you can see, right? That guy there. Well, these are little baby ones of those. And again, I'll see if you can see better in this camera. So that guy is in the spring when this happens. I actually cut these off and stick them into some soil and put them on my patio. And I just let them grow, and they make these beautiful vines. So that's kind of like a plus. And I haven't tried it inside since that happened. But there's a, when you look at your, we'll look at both, at my favorite potato peeler and a oh, that one doesn't have it. Where's my other one? This one has it. There's two different ways that are usually provided to you. So what we see here is that little pokey thing. That's to go around and get that out. See this dip? And I'll do this in the big one. You just kind of go in here and go around it. And your potato is going to be usable. And that's what I want you to know. It's just because you have a few, and see here's a little one on this one. And I can just pop them out. This kind works really well with little deep ones. And see there's another one right there. And we just pop it out. Now this is a bad part on this potato, which is why Ashley says, I love that you have multiple potato peelers. Some people might say I have an issue. Thank you for your support. But if it's growing something and it's still firm, it's still okay to eat. That doesn't mean you might not have to cut out another bad piece. But just because there's a bad piece, that doesn't make the potato bad, right? So it's when it's really soft and wrinkly and, you know, like this might look almost wrinkly, but it's not. That's just, it just has a little bit of texture from where the potato, you know, there's kind of like an outer layer of potato and dirt and stuff that gets on there. But this is firm. So if it starts feeling less firm than an avocado you want to eat, chances are that might be the time to toss the potato into your compost, if that makes sense. And another thing to think about, I'm just going to move this out of the way, is if you start peeling it and there's some green underneath, that means it's been a little overripe. If you keep peeling and peel off that green till it's, you're not seeing it anymore, that is also okay to eat. We eat them all the time and they're fine. So let's see what we got here. And Marilyn says she's tried draining the yogurt, but we'll try adding lemon or apple cider vinegar. Yeah, because what you get with the soy yogurt, going back to talking about using it as sour cream, is that it is kind of a neutral taste, and you want it to be less neutral. I know in a way we think sour cream is kind of neutral, but it does have a tang to it. And, okay, great. Kate says all this potato talk is making my stomach growl, and I have to fast for a blood test. I'm so sorry. Can you come over? Can you drive to Durham and get some potato soup when you're done? Because that would be awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and check the potatoes for right now. So I'm going to try and look for the biggest one and see how it was fork split. Did you guys see that? I'll let you see it again. So this goes in real easy and a piece can come off. That lets me know this is done. So I'm going to push this away. And I know it seems like a really long time when you're just kind of watching me cook, but that wasn't very much time at all. And keep watching to the end, and look at this cute little guy Cheryl got me, little Frankie guy. I think him and Spuddy will be good friends. There we go. And now we're going to do the blender part. And this is the part that's going to make it spooky. Well, part one of what's going to make it spooky. There's always more ways to make it spooky. So what I'm going to do is this is just some cleaned kale. I've taken any thick stems out of here. It's about 1 cup. You could go a little bit more or a little bit less. And by 1 cup, I mean 1 cup packed. Because you're probably going, that's not 1 cup. And here, this will give you a little hint. See how already some of the water's turning green. And that's how we're going to get that really good, ghoulishly green, raw color out of there. So we're going to take this is not a spatula, like I was going to tell you. This is a ladle. Okay, so I'm going to get some of this liquid out of here because it's hot. And remember, we want to get about a 1/2 cup, or really as much as we need to puree the things we're going to puree. And while potato soup is good just the way it is, we can also up that creaminess. So a lot of you already know about how I make creamless cream of soups. So you can use things like cashews. In some cases, we actually can even use potatoes, like cooked potatoes and broccoli together. And just a little bit of potato for a lot of broccoli in this case. Puree it all together. It's going to look like a cream soup, which is kind of awesome. Okay. So I've got that in there. Yeah, Nadine, I love that dish too. I agree with you. Spinach would be great, Diane. You could use spinach, you could use Swiss chard. I wouldn't necessarily use red Swiss chard or red kale, though in all honesty, it's all fine. Spinach works great. Yeah, just anything green because we're trying to get that color. So I have about 2 tablespoons of cashews that I soaked this morning. If you have a less powerful blender, meaning not a Vitamix, a Blendtec, or a Ninja, then you might need to blend it a little more. A couple of tablespoons of cashews in a pureed soup makes magic. We're also going to do some rolled oats. If for any reason you have a nut allergy or you just don't do cashews for whatever reason, you could just use rolled oats. You could use about, I would still maybe say 3 tablespoons of rolled oats. And what that's going to do, kind of what we're doing in here, is we're making our own vegan cream by using the liquid and the cashews and the oats. So it's just an equivalent of adding oat milk or cashew milk, only this is going to be thicker. So that's what's going to be really cool. We're also going to go ahead and add a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. That's going to kind of give it that cheesy flavor that's really good in potato soup. And depending on what kind you use, it probably adds some B vitamins in there too. Nothing your kids can't be happy about. Okay, so it may be loud for a few minutes. And I want you to kind of watch this and watch as you can see it get thick and creamier as it blends together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape down the sides because I don't really want a lot of the green bits in there. I want it to get a little more pureed, and I can let you see. Let's see if I can get. I have too many decorations, but you can see how it's getting really nice and green. It's also quite thick, and I'll show you that from the other view too. Even though I'm going to blend it a little bit more, see, it's not super liquidy. But what I can tell you that you can't see, as you can see a little bit here probably, is there's still some oat pieces and tiny cashew pieces. So the more you blend that all the way, the creamier and richer your soup is going to be and smoother. So it's worth bearing with the Vitamix a little bit longer. I just did a soup class this weekend, and we used some potatoes in that awesome velvety autumn soup. And I used the immersion blender to get the creamy part together, and it's not my favorite. I found myself later on, get this guy out of the way. Here we go. So we're just going to take the potato masher and literally mash the potatoes. And if I find I've made my soup too thick, I'll just add some water. Because honestly, if I'm just adding some room temperature water, it will not cool off the soup so much that we'll notice it. See how great this masher is? I love this masher. I think it's a Jamie Oliver masher. And I'm sure I probably got it somewhere like Home Goods, knowing me. But see how quick that is? And it's so nicely mashed. I'm going to set this over to the side, and then we're going to go ahead and pour in our green yumminess. And then see if we need some extra water. Is it going to look like mashed potatoes? And I like my potato soup fairly thick. And I know other people like theirs fairly thin. And that's where you get to decide what it is you would like to do. See how ghoulishly green it is? Like it's awesome. And I also think it's really fun that we're getting some extra greens into the kids before we might go trick-or-treating. Maybe not this time, but in future times. And so see as you stir it in. And I don't mind having a few little pieces of potato in there. It's still really awesome. And to me, that's pretty close, but I'll go ahead and let me grab a little extra water to put in so you can see how you would incorporate it. We'll put in an additional cup. Maybe I'll put a half cup first. So when you put it in, it's going to look like this, and you're going to be like, I just ruined my soup. But no, you didn't. Just keep stirring. And make sure you're getting it up from the bottom, just as if you were making any kind of cake mix or muffin mix. It's all the same way. See, look. And now it's a little bit thinner. Okay, so the next steps are going to be, and Ashley says it looks perfect. I know, it's so much fun, and it tastes really good too, you guys. So we're going to actually get to the salt, pepper, and smoke. So I'm going to add some liquid smoke. If you ever liked a loaded baked potato before you became vegan, it's the smokiness of the bacon, and so you can add just a few drops to a half teaspoon of liquid smoke in there. I could have added that in the blender as well. I'm going to put some pepper, and I always do salt and pepper to taste, because I believe that you know what you like. So what you can do if you're unsure, start by adding in maybe a quarter or a half teaspoon at a time, and then go up a little bit more, because you can't ever take it out. I'm going to put in for me, I'm going to put about a teaspoon, I think, of salt in here. If you don't use salt at all, you have some options. So first off, you could use your favorite salt-free substitute. Second off, you could maybe make a teaspoon combo of onion powder, garlic powder, probably actually I would do it this way, half a teaspoon garlic powder, half a teaspoon onion powder, and maybe a quarter teaspoon ground celery seed. And that works really well as a generic salt substitute if you don't have one. And if you are maybe having people over for the holidays who have different eating patterns than you can leave the salt out entirely and put it on the side and let people salt things to taste. Just make sure to tell people, because I've noticed when I do that, and I'm going to, oh, it smells good, you guys, but I want a little more pepper. Cheryl doesn't like as much pepper as I do, so I hold back and I put that on when I'm serving my bowl as well. Let's see. And Joanne had a good point with when I said maybe red chard or red Swiss chard or red Russian kale might not be as good, but she said it might make it red, and that would be kind of cool too. So you could also cook some beets in here or something like that. So I mean, that's up to you. You certainly could take this recipe as a base, because potato soup is delicious with everything. Oh, and potatoes, Idaho Potato says it's lunchtime in Idaho and this is making me hungry. I know. Okay, so I'm going to taste this, and then we're going to talk a little bit about decorating it to make it oh so much better for Halloween. I mean, it's already pretty darn good. So I'm going to taste this like I always do. And I'm tasting, do I need more nutritional yeast? Does it need more salt or pepper or liquid smoke? And honestly, I'm going to put in a little more salt, probably about another half teaspoon. But it's better to stir it up more than once to get it just right. Because once it's over salted, it's very difficult to come back from that. It's not impossible, but you know, it's a lot easier to do it this and stir a couple of times. And this is going to be my lunch, and I'm very excited about that. Okay. Perfect. That's all it needed. So, got a little setup kind of ready. And this is kind of fun. I've got myself a little Ouija board, and you guys can't really see them this way, but these were like Halloween fairy garden kind of decorations. So I'm not going to chance splotching soup on them, so I'm going to do the soup over here on the side. And this makes about 4 servings, like for a dinner serving. And I kind of like the way it's a little bit ever so lumpy in there. And let me get a paper towel. Actually, I can just wipe it. I have a towel here. Though, it's something kind of fun about having the drips on the cauldron, too. And so, this is one way right? And that's pretty awesome. There are other things that you can do to decorate this as well. So we're going to talk about a few of those. So a couple things. One that you've seen in the pictures is using Halloween cookie cutters and pumpernickel bread, which is darker. But honestly, you could use white bread or a lighter bread and do a ghost cutout, and you could just have a big ghost crouton or a big bat pumpernickel crouton in there, and that would be super fun. And Nadine says, oh, now that dish is awesome. I love that. Thank you. And Diane says, I love lumpy mashed potatoes. I just love all mashed potatoes. There are a couple of other things you could do too. And I'll do one of those now. It's like, these are already sliced pimentos because Halloween is all about the eyes. So we can make our soup have eyes just this easily. So that's another thing. If you don't have bread, you probably have some olives that you can slice, right? And let me trying to find a good one, right? Do you guys ever do that? I want the best one. There you go. You got a little face on him. And you could put even like a little monster mouth or anything like that on there. And I can tell you right now, these olives are going to taste delicious in the soup. And there's one more thing that you could do too. So you could take a red bell pepper, and I thought I'd show you this really quick. And you want to get ones that have more pronounced base, like these 4 parts. And for this soup is being a little deep, so I might have to cut in here a little bit. So I want to get a piece that looks like the body of a monster. So then I could sit that and actually, we'll make the other bowl of soup because Cheryl's going to be hungry too. See, it looks kind of spooky like that, actually. It's really good. So again, with the towel, because I am a messy, messy person. And I think I'm even going to see if I can just get, it's hard to stop eating it, and that's a good thing. I'm going to see if I can just make it taller so it kind of covers up that one while I make another one. I wouldn't do this if you were eating here, though. I would only use the proper paper towel. I know, you got to feed Cheryl for sure. She was even helping us out a few minutes ago. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of the pepper and we're going to put it in here. And you probably need to see this, okay? So we're going to put it in here. And if you're doing a deep dish, the reason I said the cauldron would probably be hard is that this is going to try and sink. And then you can take a candy eye, and actually that's probably a good thing. Nope. Let's try again. I'm going to get the paper towel. The paper towel is being sad for being left out. But it probably is good for me to have a little bit of sticky from this potato, or even mashed potato. There we go. Got that there. And I'm going to take my cutting board back a little bit. And then I'm just going to take like just a section of this. Okay. And I'm going to kind of cut some thin-ish tentacles. And depending on how big your bowl is and how big your red pepper is, you might be able to cut some of these in half. And actually, I think we can cut ours in half, or at least a third of it off. See where I'm going? and make little monster arms. And you're getting your kid to eat fresh red pepper all at the same time. And you could even have some just where some just barely come up. Those are underwater. Wow. Isn't that fun, you guys? So, and that's just one of the many ways that you could garnish this. So, we're looking at a couple things right now. So again, we've got this guy with the red pepper and an eye, and I could have used a pimento there, an olive with a pimento. You could just make it have a spooky monster face. And in fact, now that I have some red pepper, we could even just give him a very weird mouth. So it's so easy and so much fun. Let me get where I can see, you can see everybody at the same time. There we go. Okay, so it's super cute. You have all the things you need. If you don't have a red bell pepper, you could do carrot shavings and just have the knob of the carrot head set down with something on top of it, a little eye, and just do little carrot sticks reaching out. So what I want you to know from this, A, is potato soup's the best. B, potato soup can be spooky. And C, you have these ingredients. So even if you're saying today, well, I'm not going to celebrate Halloween, you've got potatoes. If you're whole food plant-based, you probably have nutritional yeast and liquid smoke. But if you don't, you can just use vegetable broth, or you can even just use water and add any kind of bouillon cube you want to it. So it's a really easy, inexpensive, super fun thing to do. And you can use olives to make eyes. You could also go in and make, if you don't do olives or can't have them, you could do similar things with like a disc of a carrot and then a pimento, or a disc of a carrot and then a black sesame seed. There's so many things you can do. And Famous Idaho Potato says, it's so cute and creative, thank you. I work hard for my Halloween goodies, for sure. Ashley thinks it's super cute. And Joanne says, watching you make food enticing for Cheryl gives everyone great ideas for enticing kids, and that's so true. So Cheryl, I used to write some articles about Cheryl, and I'd be like, my picky eater Cheryl, and they'd be like, how old is Cheryl? And I'm like, 54 years old, or 50 years old then, I think is what she was. So picky little eaters sometimes grow up to be picky adult eaters. But Cheryl has come so far in the past 10 years trying new things and liking different vegetables. So if you can get your kids to start trying some fun things like this, and having this be potato soup seems like, oh, well, that's not Halloween. Make it green, make it red. Probably even put some pumpkin and make it orange if you didn't have any greens on hand. And you can still turn this into a really fun, kid-friendly, vegetable introducing session all at the same time. Carol says, awesome. Diane says, fun. Carol says it helps decrease COVID depression. I feel like I need that as a quote. And before we go, Jackie says, yummy. And Ashley says her partner's the same. And so far. So I do have something I want to give you guys. The first person to find this. So make a comment on the Healthy Slow Cooking page so I can see it. So if you're watching from someplace else, there are two Spuddy Buddies. One is here. One is out in the distance. Whoever finds both the Spuddy Buddies, and I'm going to, you can see both while I'm standing here. I will try not to look at it, but it is not in front of me, the second Spuddy Buddy. And if no one finds that, the second choice, if no one can find the other Spuddy Buddy, is find tell me where you see some other Idaho potato things, but I'd rather you find both Spuddy Buddies. You will not see his face clearly, indicating he is not in front of me. So, and whoever does that, I will DM you, and then I'm going to send you this awesome pair of gloves with potatoes on it. No, just kidding. They're way more than this. So what it is they're potato gloves. So we could have just boiled the whole potatoes and not peeled them or anything. And then you take these gloves and you can just peel them really quickly and then run it underwater. It's kind of magic. So it's pretty awesome. So I don't know why I can't talk today, you guys. I'm so sorry. This is what it says about them. Save time in the kitchen and protect your hands, which I am all about. These wonderful gloves peel only the most exterior fine layer of skin from the potato, which is not what I do. I peel way more than that, getting rid of dirt yet saving all the nutrients. And it's perfect for peeling boiled potatoes, and that's what I use them for. Oh, somebody sees them. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I do think that if I'm looking right here, that Kate Kelly. Nope. Oh, nope. Let's see. Nadine Sullivan is the winner. So Nadine, will you contact me at Kathy Hester, KathyHester @gmail.com, and I will get these in the mail to you, and you too can peel your boiled potatoes wearing fancy gloves like I do. Do you guys have any questions about anything that we've done today? And Ashley says the gloves sound amazing. I always have issues wanting to try and peel cooked potatoes too early. And see, I just sit there and peel them. So, and I'm always peeling a little bit too much. So this is probably the more frugal way to use your potatoes, because one of the things I do love is that potatoes are such a great staple. They last a long time. I keep some in a drawer in the cabinet just so it keeps them away from sunlight, which helps deter the sprouts from coming. But once it's spring, the sprouts are going to happen, even if they're in your cabinet. But I just love potatoes, and they're just so versatile, inexpensive, and everything. Anyhow, that's why I love me some Idaho potatoes. You guys know that. Oh, and that's great. Matthew came on and said, I just wanted to say I love your slow cooker cookbook. Thank you so much, Matthew. I appreciate it. And you could make this in the slow cooker too, you guys. You could just put the potatoes and the liquid, just like we did to go into the pan on top of the induction burner today. You could put the same ingredients. It would work well in a 4-quart slow cooker. It would probably have to be doubled to be in a 7-8. Might work with a 6. 6 will cook it a little bit faster. So you could just put everything in there, put it on low, and cook it from 7 to 9 hours. It might even be ready at 6, but it'll hold till 9. And then you could just complete with the things that you did here. And yes, you can make it in the Instant Pot too. Instead of putting it on the stove, put all those ingredients in your 6-quart Instant Pot. It would work in an 8-quart Instant Pot as well. Cook on high pressure for about 7 minutes with a careful manual pressure release. Okay. Yeah, and there is my cool potato towel. I love this because it's the cuts of Idaho potatoes that we even talked a lot about these today earlier when you guys were telling me your favorite stuff. Okay, so do you have any questions about the dish? Depending on where you're looking, you will find the link to the recipe, and that's going to take you to the Idaho Potato site, which is awesome, and it'll take you to, you'll see the picture that I sent them, and it'll have my recipe there. And then also if you click over to the side under my name, you will see lots of other Idaho potato recipes that I've made, so go make some of those, and if you have some questions, you can let me know. Also on that is a link to purchase the Ghoulish Gourmet, a vegan Halloween cookbook, and this is a recipe in there. So if you're looking for some extra fun stuff to do, that would be awesome. Okay, and Nadine, I will be looking to get an email from you so that I can send you your potato gloves. And you guys have a wonderful Halloween and get into the spirit and enjoy it. And if you want to, if you're a Christmas person, I give you full permission to, over the weekend, take down your Halloween decorations and put up your Christmas decorations, because life is too short not to eat lots of yummy soup and not to be celebrating your favorite holidays. Okay? So if you do make this, I would love it if you would post a picture either here on Healthy Slow Cooking, in my free private Facebook group, Vegan Recipes, Cooking with Kathy Hester, or email it to me at kathyhester@gmail.com. I'll make it as easy as I can. Okay, yeah, and thank you guys so much for coming, and I will talk to you guys and probably pop back in with some other wonderful Halloween thing before Halloween happens. Okay, awesome. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.